my own product, which I faced the difficulty was we have been producing a product which is almost, I'm supplying to more than 10 countries now. That is, the Kashmir origin kahwa. So the initial challenge with my product was taking it to the other parts of the world because Kashmir was very famous about the kahwa production, and my challenge was encapsulating the flavors and fragrances it had, and while sipping this, cup of kahwa anywhere in the world, they should not feel that what has been mixed and what's there inside. And we got a product with the encapsulation of the individual products, then blending it as tails and getting something extraordinary as kava. So it was one of the pioneer products which took me and which actually, make me to cross the borders from Kashmir to across globe. And for last maybe 5 years, I have been working on particularly two products. And for the two products, I'll be taking you. One is the honey, and second is the trout. For honey, I'll be telling you that the difficulties in identifying and the crystallization of as a problem in markets. And for the trout was pursuing it from Kashmir to India and from India to rest of the world. First difficulty we faced in trout was preserving it without putting any preservatives. You might be knowing about the trout that it carries omega-3s and it carries, the fat less proteins. So my challenge was taking trout on a normal route, but adding trout to something which will preserve it at the same time, add the flavor and fragrances to the trout. So that was the first challenge. And for the honey, we had the challenge of the market for the honey was extraordinary, in India as well as the rest of the world. But we were not in a position to prove to its constituent characteristics what honey technically was for. Like you might be knowing about the honey, that's this sugars as inward sugars as fructose, glucose, and sucrose constituents. I actually took a break and I started getting to know the food products, and then I jumped into establishing a food laboratory wherein I could be in a position to have a food chemistry understanding of what Kashmir produces. You might be astonished to know that Kashmir produces saffron to the world tune only 3 to 4%. Selling saffron to the rest of the world, as in something as a product, we had an immediate difficulty of the Iranian saffron, Iran produces 93% of the total saffron in the world. In cotton, you must understand that we produce roughly 2,800 kilos to 3,500 kilos of saffron in total, whereas Iran produces 190,000 kilos in total. So while you take this saffron to the rest of the world, your rate stay nowhere if you are not in a position to understand the quantum as well as the qualities what you produce. When I look back, I couldn't find a single laboratory in Kashmir which could have been in a position to go for the constituents and the characteristics of the saffron. Saffron is technically a combination of crocin, saffronol, and it has the anti-cancer constituents at alpha-synuclein. Comparing the saffron of Kashmir to the saffron of Iran was slightly difficult because the same constituents were in the Iranian saffron as were the Kashmiri saffron. But I would find that the Kashmiri saffron had a good quantum of crocin as in per gram and saffronol also as in per gram. So that gave me impetus to find the market for its medicinal properties. While as the Iranian saffron was used for the coloring agent, the Kashmiri saffron was introduced as a highly medicinally propertied product. So I could find something exemplary for this product, and this gave me slightly a better idea to go deeper into the resources what Kashmir possesses. Same as the idea about honey, because we have been telling to the people that Kashmir produces honey, the quality is extraordinary, and we have the acacia honey, because there you should understand that what is unifloral and what is multifloral honeys. And when we started telling people that we have a good quality of honey, so the question arises, what are the qualities what your honey possesses? And then we had to go back to again the laboratories and getting to the constituents of the honey we produce. So going to the constituents of honey, we have to look further deeper. Further deeper means we have to actually go through the honeybee. So Kashmir has this Epicerana, and we have been working on Epi mellifera also. The working of honeybee, and the flower, it will go and get the nectar, and immediately the question arises, we have everywhere the apple plantation. So that was slightly a difficult modus operandi to make people understand that we have a quality product. So you might be having a question, because the quality products here introducing to the world, they had the first question, that is the pesticide residues. Because why you have the apple plantation everywhere, you must be knowing that we are doing more than maybe 15 sprays every year. So starting from 5 to 6 sprays, now we are thinking in terms of going for a 20 spray per year for the apple production, because we need more produce to sell more apples. But in the advent of things of producing more apples, we started killing the culture of honey. We started killing the available flowers where the bee could have gone and got the nectar, because bee is attracted by the flower in two ways. One is the nectar it possesses, second, the beauty of the flower. And then when I actually delved into the details of the honey in Kashmir, I could find no pathways available for the purest possible honey in Kashmir. That to be again, sort of like question mark with you, that we have this huge, mountain range, but why can't we produce honey as to the tune of quality, details? I could find slightly nearer to Ladakh, there is the Gangbal, Mount Hadmook. So we started testing with alfalfa. I think the moment you think in terms of a product, you should think in terms of going deeper into reverse integration. I say backward integrations. The moment you see a product, you should be knowing the characteristic details of it. What do you mean by characteristic details? Is the constituent details of it. It's basically on the technical details. If you need vitamin D, you should understand the B12 details in your body. If you have a B12, deficiency in the body, you cannot absorb vitamin D available as a product to you. So same, goes with everything, as in even honeybees. So she had this problem of producing, because honeybee produces whatever you provide to it. So the nearest possibility was going for the flower revolution. In Mount Harmukh and Gangbal areas, I could find, the better quality of grasses, the better quality of nectar, the better quality of flowers, which was, this honeybee, the Epicerana, was very interested in visiting the flowers around its mountainous regions, and we could find a beautiful product as organic honey. So if you ask me what are the constituent details of organic honey, you could consider the pollen counts available in honey per gram. So the pollen count was more in per gram honey as the qualitative products. In the event of things, you will be trying to understand because I will be summing up with these three products only, or rather these three resources, which I think in the future course of time, you'll be thinking that if you have a tourist rush kind of a thing to the Kashmir origins, what are you going to sell them as a constituent product available nearby to your sources? So, going deeper into these products will be for you a criterion wherein you could go for the characteristic details. That's kind of an idea wherein I'm thinking in terms of making people aware about the resources around and working on the resources. Because if you are not technically formidable with the uh, fungicides and other sprays, you will not be understanding what you are killing for something, as in for a person which is going to be the revenue generator. But for the generations, it could be something as in destroyer for the product which could have been the future product of yours. And the same will be processed because one was on the technical terms where I could go deeper into the honey and the constituent elements the honey is carrying. Uh, I had this opportunity of working with trout fish in Kashmir. And for that purpose, we established one food laboratory which goes into the details of constituents of the product, as in uh, because trout is a very delicate tissue cultured product, and what we technically sell because it is near to the salmon family, and we continuously work on its product details and we continuously work on its shelf life. And we have been on a different note doing its marination details and selling it to we recently got a good opportunity selling it to Singapore, Malaysia and Indonesia as trout, because we replace it in money I mean uh, uh, business houses wherein we could introduce it as a alternative to salmon. So I had basically this idea of taking you to these 2 3 products wherein you could think in future that uh, whenever you intend to go for a product detail, you should have its technical details and you should have something wherein you could test its every constituent. So for that purpose, we introduced this food laboratory, and we are working continuously on its microbial details. We are working on the product we Kashmir produces, because in recent future we introduced one with details of bee activity. There is one grass which is being on test trials. We call it sandfine grasses, and it has an extraordinary bee activity around. So, my question and my details with students will be that you should be worried about the future of Kashmiri origin things, because it's going to give you more of a revenue, it's going to give more of a romance with the products you will be producing. Because otherwise, at the end of the day, you could turn to be the tradesmen and you could be sort of having nothing to do in future for the products you produce. Because while I'll be actually just summing it up, only one question will be with the students and the people around me, that we should be slightly serious about whatever we produce. And for that, the backward integrations, the reverse integrations, and getting to know the constituent details of everything we have, it could give us extraordinarily something of a revenue which we cannot imagine. There are two examples. One is the Elvish honey, and second is the Manuka honey. We are up to until yet to sell a honey as an organic honey for more than 2 to 3,000 rupees a kilo. You go to Turkish origins Elvish, it is sold at 800,000 rupees a kilo. So imagine replacing a quality product with a quantitative product. And the Elvish honey, the Turkish origin people produce maybe a ton or so. And the story about Manuka honey, imagine how much for a kilo of a Manuka honey will be sold. Imagine anything. So you cannot find 100 grams of Manuka honey unless you pay $5,000 for a 100 grams of Manuka honey. So the gap I am asking you to manage is not on but of economy of scale, because we are a small, a land availability state, and technically we are locked with the mountains, so we don't have much of an kind of a thing wherein we'll be more into cultivating the lands available. But think of something wherein you have been bestowed with maybe the jungles, maybe the rivers, and on the origins of it, it's why I was telling you about the Gangbal and Harmukh mountains. It has this speciality of more than 17,000 square meters. I mean, it is roughly 5,400 square feet above the sea level. So the pristine clarity, the originality it carries is extraordinary, which you cannot find, down the slide. So be more serious about the products which you could sell in the future course of time on a higher price, on a higher value, because you cannot compete with the people and the availability of lands to the people very near to you. Because you have this specialty wherein you could think in terms of selling this high valued products, and you can produce and you have the consumers available. So that was two things that I was interested in sharing details. Maybe, in future course of time, you will be interested in making a business fortune out of it and going for the value additions into it. And because you don't need the preservation details for these, and you don't need technically, going for a normal course of routine while selling it, because you should be having maybe two things available to you. One is the origins of the honey, and one is the origins of the trout. Because I could deal two products only. Otherwise, if we go deeper into the resource management of Kashmir, there are many products which we have a possibility of preserving it, then going for a laboratory analysis to a deeper tone and selling it to the rest of the world with details pertaining to it. Thinking in terms of sharing with you, uh, because I see that possibilities of venturing into something as a product available, and the produce and the resource available in Kashmir is this much, that we think in terms of taking it deep dive to the Indian shores, and now we have the possibilities opened with the railways and other things. But we have to be very serious about everything, that specifically, because there's a last line in telling, we have to be very specific about it, that whatever we say or commit or label as a product, it will be countered. It will have a laboratory somewhere else in the rest of the world wherein you will be asked to prove it to date.